Do you think history is just a bunch of boring stories from textbooks? Get ready to change your mind. In today's video, we're going to dive into the dark and untold mysteries of ancient civilizations, from the chilling family drama of the Moche, to prehistoric cannibal secrets hidden in ancient caves, to long-buried lost cities. Join us as we embark on a journey to uncover mysteries that have stood the test of time, starting right now. The family drama of the Moche culture. The ancient Moche civilization just took family drama to a whole new level. According to a shocking genetic study, high-status funerals in Peru 1,500 years ago were actually a form of extreme family bonding. Instead of sitting around playing Moche Scrabble, they simply sacrificed their closest relatives. While most of us argue over who gets grandma's jewelry, the Moche made sure that family members would go together to the afterlife, so there would be no one left to fight over the inheritance. A study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences provided new evidence of a custom so bizarre that the experts had to double-check their data multiple times. Archaeologists from the University of California unearthed a shocking find at Huaca Tao Viejo, a pyramid-shaped structure where an elite woman known as the Senora was laid to rest. Next to the Senora were 5 other people, including an adolescent boy and girl, and brace yourself, they had been strangled with plant fiber ropes. Who needs a will when you can just bring your relatives along with you? At first, archaeologists assumed the victims were just random offerings to the gods, but genetic analysis revealed that they were all related to the deceased Senora. Her granddaughter was among the victims, and one of the men buried alongside her was the father of the sacrificed teenage boy. That's a literal family reunion. Before this discovery, researchers thought that Moche human sacrifices were mainly public religious events. But this private, family-centered style of sacrifice is something entirely new. Using radiocarbon dating, scientists determined that 5 individuals, including the 2 sacrificed children, were buried at nearly the same time. DNA sequencing helped sketch a complex family tree. 2 of the men in the tomb were likely brothers of the Senora. One man may have been the father of the sacrificed girl, and another man, buried decades earlier, could have been the grandfather of the entire clan. But why sacrifice so many people just to bury one woman? That remains a mystery. Archaeologist Farron Schmidt suggested that strangulation may have been considered a more gentle way to go, at least by Moche standards. Sure, it's horrifying, but compared to some of their more gruesome sacrifice rituals, this was practically humane. I mean, would you rather be strangled or have your heart ripped out while still alive? Hopefully, you'll never have to make that decision. Prehistoric brain eaters. Deep inside Mazia Cave in southern Poland, researchers uncovered something so chilling it forces us to rethink what we know about prehistoric life. This wasn't some zombie apocalypse. What they found was much more real and far more disturbing. A recent analysis of human remains dating back to around 16,000 BC has confirmed a shocking truth. Prehistoric hunter-gatherers in this region were actually eating their own kind, and it happened with alarming regularity. This wasn't a rare occasion or some wild party where you snack on your neighbor's leg with a side of mammoth steak. Cannibalism was a routine part of their survival strategy. Let's take a closer look at the discovery. Researchers analyzed 63 fragments of human bone found in the cave using state-of-the-art 3D microscopy. They discovered that 70% of the bones bore cut marks, unmistakable evidence of butchering. The pattern of these marks clearly shows a preference for extracting bone marrow and brains. Bone marrow and brains are packed with nutrients. Not that I'd know from personal experience, but apparently, brain eating has been going on since as far back as 18,000 years ago. Scientists think the timing of all this is significant. The last ice age was just coming to an end. Environmental conditions were improving, but the growing population may have caused a shortage of resources. More people meant more mouths to feed. In the struggle for survival, some groups decided to cross the ultimate taboo. The evidence suggests that bodies were processed for food soon after death, meaning there was no formal funeral. When someone died, they simply became the next meal. Researchers propose that fierce competition for food and territory may have sparked conflicts where the victors quite literally ate the losers. Evidence of cannibalism from this period has now been found at least 5 different sites. It looks like prehistoric Poles really did have a taste for human flesh. Ancient springs in France. What archaeologists found near the village of Chambord was a 1,700-year-old Roman ruin built on top of a sacred Neolithic spring. If history has taught us anything, It's that humans have always excelled at repurposing old real estate. The Romans were the original masters of renovation. This mysterious site contains the remains of a Roman-era pool and stone wall built around a freshwater spring, but the Romans weren't the first to enjoy these waters. The spring had been sacred to people thousands of years before the Romans ever showed up. Neolithic people were taking dips in the spring 6,000 years ago, and incredibly, the spring is still flowing to this day. The Romans, with their ahead-of-their-time engineering minds, enclosed the spring with a wooden box and built a beautifully landscaped pool surrounded by a grand arc of granite blocks. They transformed what was once a wild pond for ancient people into a paradise spa. But there's something dark here too, something that probably should have stayed buried underground. No sacred site is complete without some protection from evil forces. Archaeologists uncovered a ceramic fragment bearing the face of Medusa. Medusa is the infamous snake-haired monster from Greek mythology. The Romans believed her image could ward off evil, which means some Roman looked at this serene pool and thought, better slap a monster face on that, just in case something nasty shows up. Who knows what kinds of spirits or demons once haunted this place that made the Romans feel Medusa's protection was needed. This site isn't just some random ruin. It's layers of civilization stacked on top of each other, from a sacred Neolithic site to a Roman mineral spa guarded by Medusa, and then, after the Romans left, everything was forgotten until now. Secret Maya rituals you shouldn't know about. The Mayas' love for big cats went far beyond simple admiration. It was a full-blown obsession with a sacrificial twist. If you thought ancient Mesoamerican civilizations just sat around inventing calendars and building pyramids, think again. Recent discoveries from the Maya city of Copan in Honduras reveal that wild animals played a major role in society, from ritual sacrifices to bizarre prehistoric petting zoos. Since at least the first millennium, the elites of Mesoamerica used animals to show off their status. Jaguars and pumas were seen as symbols of power and were often sacrificed in elaborate rituals. According to a new study led by anthropologist Nawa Sugiyama from George Mason University, these practices were much more widespread than historians had previously thought. And by practices, we mean everything from keeping large predators in captivity to trading animal pelts and meat. The Maya ran a remarkably robust animal economy. Even though they didn't have traditional livestock like cows or pigs, this is a little-known side of Maya culture that, frankly, you might be better off not knowing about. A shocking discovery was made at Altar Q, a name that sounds like a secret government lab, but was actually where Maya kings proved their legitimacy. And they did that by sacrificing a whole lot of big cats. Scientists found the remains of at least 16 jaguars, pumas, and other felines at Altar Q, along with a collection of birds. Why so many cats? In Maya culture, these animals represented strength. If you wanted to be king, you sacrificed a jaguar and hoped the gods approved. The real shock came when researchers analyzed the bones and teeth of these animals using isotopic techniques. It turned out the mighty jaguars and pumas were munching on corn-fed turkeys before their deaths. These weren't wild jaguars at all. They were fattened up on turkey before being sacrificed. At least, the Maya took good care of their adorable killer kitties before sending them off. But it also shows the Maya found a safer way to handle these animals rather than trying to hunt them in the wild. The study also revealed that many animals were traded from other parts of Mesoamerica, as if the Maya were running an ancient high-stakes pet trade. For years, historians underestimated just how deeply animals were integrated into Maya society. Because the Maya didn't domesticate large livestock like cattle, people assumed they weren't keeping animals in any serious way. But Sugiyama's research proved otherwise. The disturbing part is how often Maya kings sacrificed these gorgeous creatures just to prove something to the gods. Secrets beneath the Giza pyramid. Imagine rummaging through your sofa cushions and stumbling upon a secret compartment. But instead of loose change or old popcorn, you find a mysterious underground structure that could change human history. And instead of your sofa, you're digging right beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza. That's exactly what scientists have just done, though of course, they used high-tech scanners, not their bare hands like the rest of us. Archaeologists have detected an anomaly lurking beneath the royal graveyard near Khufu's 4,500-year-old pyramid, and they have no idea what's inside. Treasure? A secret chamber? Or maybe the world's first lost and found box? Before we get any deeper, how about a little history lesson? Don't worry, this part is actually interesting. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, Egypt's biggest and oldest pyramid, was built to honor the pharaoh of the same name. If you were a big deal in ancient Egypt, you got a massive stone monument, which you probably already knew. Surrounding the pyramid is an ancient cemetery, packed with above-ground tombs called mastabas. These mastabas belonged to Khufu's family and top officials. But one area in the necropolis was completely different. A patch of empty land. No tombs, no markers, not even a no parking sign. Naturally, scientists got curious. From 2021 to 2023, a research team from Japan's Higashi Nippon International University and their colleagues decided to take a peek, but not by digging. They used ground-penetrating radar and electrical resistivity tomography to scan the empty space. And guess what? They found something truly bizarre. According to their report, the scans revealed a mysterious L-shaped structure connected to something even deeper underground. This wasn't a natural formation, so it was definitely made by humans, or maybe ancient aliens. Who knows? Right? Now the big question is, what's hiding beneath this anomaly? The upper structure is about 33 feet long and buried 6.5 feet underground. Scientists think it might have been an entrance, but it was later filled in with sand. Beneath the sand-filled entrance is a deeper, highly resistive anomaly. In science speak, that means the researchers have absolutely no idea what they're dealing with. According to Live Science's Owen Jarus, this lower structure could be an empty chamber, a storage area, or just a space packed with sand and gravel. Worst case scenario, it's ancient Egypt's least successful basement renovation project. Best case scenario, it could be a hidden royal tomb, or a sealed coffin containing the body of an Anunnaki. Excavations are now officially underway, and the experts are eager to see what's waiting deep below the surface. A special investigation into the Anunnaki, ancient deities, celestial overlords, or perhaps the original influencers of Mesopotamian civilization. All roads seem to lead back to the name Anunnaki. If you wanted, I could make an entire video just about this legendary divine race. Some say they were gods, others claim they were ancient astronauts, and there are even conspiracy theories suggesting they're secretly running a coffee shop beneath Mount Hermon. But who were the Anunnaki? The name Anunnaki means those who came from heaven to earth. Sounds dramatic, doesn't it? In Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki were the offspring of Anu and Ki, the sky god and the earth goddess. This is interesting because biblical tradition contains a similar story, featuring semi-divine beings called the Nephilim, the children of angels from the heavens and mortal women on earth. Maybe the Anunnaki were just the ones with better PR. One of the most famous ancient sources on the Nephilim is the Book of Enoch, a text so controversial it was excluded from the official Bible. Early church fathers like Clement of Alexandria and Tertullian vouched for Enoch's authenticity, but eventually, theologians decided to toss out the parts about rogue angels and their giant, world-devouring offspring. According to the Book of Enoch, a group of 200 rebellious angels called the Watchers decided to seduce human women, and the result was the birth of giants. Those giants eventually consumed everything in sight, including people. You might be wondering what all this has to do with the Anunnaki. The truth is, many scholars believe the Anunnaki are directly connected to, or even identical with, the Nephilim. Scholars like Edward Lipinski have found that ancient Mesopotamian texts identify the Anunnaki's stomping grounds as Mount Hermon, the very place where the Watchers supposedly landed after falling from heaven and set up their giant-making factory. Oh, but does that mean the Anunnaki were aliens or gods? Did they create humanity and the giants? The best person to ask might be Gilgamesh, the famous Sumerian king and part-time demigod who journeyed to Mount Hermon in search of pre-flood wisdom over 3,000 years ago. According to the Epic of Gilgamesh, he was 2/3 divine and renowned for his enormous stature. Ancient texts describe Gilgamesh as standing up to 16 or 18 feet tall. He wasn't just physically huge, he was deeply philosophical and always searching for the meaning of life. Gilgamesh's journey took him through the antediluvian world, where he sought out Utnapishtim, the Mesopotamian version of Noah. Yet, for all his wisdom, nothing could save him from death. Gilgamesh, perhaps part Anunnaki himself, ultimately succumbed to a mortal's fate. In fact, almost all Anunnaki-related lore says the giants of the old world all died out. In the Book of Enoch, God was so angered by the Watchers that he ordered them bound and thrown into the earth's valleys for 70 generations. Meanwhile, in Greek mythology, the rebellious Titans were locked away beneath Tartarus, which, interestingly enough, is the same word used in the Bible to describe where the fallen angels were imprisoned. It's all connected, like some ancient cinematic universe where gods, giants, and fallen angels share one sprawling legend. Empuries. The archaeological site of Empuries is one of the most important locations in all of Europe. Located in Spain's Girona province, this was once home to two major cities, the Greek city of Emporion and the Roman city of Emporia. What makes it remarkable is that both cities coexisted peacefully, side by side. From this very spot, both the Greeks and the Romans spread their influence into what is now modern-day Spain. Today, it remains the only archaeological site in the region where you can find Greek and Roman settlements right next to each other. But Empuries also holds plenty of mysteries. The Greeks founded their city here in the 6th century BC as a commercial hub, while the Romans built their own city in the 1st century BC, about 500 years later. Both cities flourished through trade and, incredibly, never clashed with each other. However, in the 3rd century AD, the entire region was abandoned. People from both cities packed up and left, allowing their grand structures to crumble over time. To this day, archaeologists still cannot pinpoint the reason why this happened. What remains now are little more than mud brick walls and ruins that can't be restored. Still, there is hope that more clues will be uncovered as excavations continue. The mysterious Byzantine Church. When Basilica San Vitale in Italy was still under construction, Byzantine Emperor Justinian invaded the region in the 6th century. Justinian carried on building this magnificent church, turning it into his own personal statement and a monument to honor Jesus Christ. Today, Basilica San Vitale is the only church from the Byzantine era that remains intact, and it stands as one of Italy's most impressive structures, adorned with stunning mosaic artworks from the Byzantine Empire. From the outside, the church is so striking, it's hard to believe it really exists. Inside, the mosaics are breathtakingly beautiful. Thanks to Justinian continuing the project after conquering Italy, he was able to weave images of himself and his wife Theodora into the church's artwork, portraying them as near-divine rulers. Even if that wasn't exactly the case in real life, one of the greatest mysteries of this Byzantine church is who it was truly dedicated to. Almost nothing is known about the life of Saint Vitalis. One story claims he was born in Milan and was buried alive while still breathing in Ravenna. Another says he was tortured before being entombed. There are even rumors that his wife and children were also killed as martyrs. However, it's possible the church stands on the execution site of a different martyr, Saint Vitalis of Bologna. In those days, there were so many saints and martyrs that even historians today have trouble telling who's who. The mysterious pit beneath the Sphinx. The Egyptian Sphinx is one of the world's most enigmatic landmarks, and every year it only seems to get more intriguing. Today, there is mounting evidence that a secret chamber lies hidden beneath the body of the Giza Sphinx, possibly leading to a treasure trove that's never been discovered. In reality, this theory has been around for centuries. It's nothing new. Everyone knows there's an entrance at the base of the Sphinx. It's been there for 4,500 years. Yet to this day, no one has actually confirmed what the pit beneath the Sphinx was used for, aside from the fact that it leads down to some very eerie underground rooms. Currently, historian Dr. Bettany Hughes believes that the void beneath the Sphinx descends into additional chambers, and those chambers are not empty. The problem is, to find the treasure, you'd have to dig deep inside the Sphinx itself. That means drilling further into this iconic monument to explore the underground maze and hidden rooms below. One small mistake could collapse the entire Sphinx, destroying a symbol recognized around the world. It's believed these rooms were sealed incredibly well in the days of Pharaoh Khufu, so well that the entrance is now impossible to find. The only way in would be brute force, something the Egyptian government would never allow. Scientists hope to scan the Sphinx for more possible entrances, or at least to get a sneak peek inside in search of secret chambers that might hold lost treasures or hidden mummies. The Cave of Secrets. Nothing conjures up the feeling of hidden ancient mysteries quite like a damp, dark cave buried deep in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. Come with me into the shadowy world of Cueva de los Tallos in Ecuador. This place, also known as the Cave of the Oil Birds, shot to international fame in the 1970s thanks to some truly outrageous stories. At the center of the legend is Juan Morich, an adventurer who made Indiana Jones look like an apprentice. In the mid-20th century, Morich claimed he had discovered a vast underground labyrinth stretching for hundreds of miles beneath the earth. And what did he supposedly find down there? Nothing short of the extraordinary. Golden artifacts, walls covered in hieroglyphics, advanced machines, and even a library of books made out of metal. That's right, books made of metal, as if ancient civilizations had figured out how to print bestsellers on stainless steel long before we ever heard of paperbacks. But things only got weirder. Moritz also insisted he had come face to face with a hidden city beneath the earth, inhabited by a race of tall, fair-skinned, highly intelligent beings. These weren't your typical cave-dwelling weirdos. These people were supposedly technologically advanced, but the question was, why were they living underground instead of, running the world? That part of the story Moritz left conveniently vague. Things really exploded when Swiss author Erich von Däniken, the king of ancient alien theories, jumped into the fray. He included Moritz's claims in his 1973 book, Gold of the Gods, where he connected the cave's so-called treasures to extraterrestrial visitors. If you listen to Däniken, no ancient civilization could have built anything without a little help from aliens. It looked like everything was heading for a shocking revelation, but it turned out to be a major letdown when real scientists and archaeologists actually investigated Cueva de los Tallos. They found zero evidence of a golden library, a lost city, or alien relics. So what really happened? Did these mysterious beings pack up and leave after Moritz's visit? Or was it all just a fabrication? Multiple expeditions were launched, including a major one in the 1970s backed by both the Ecuadorian and British governments. But nothing suggested that an advanced civilization had ever existed in the cave. In 1976, none other than Neil Armstrong himself joined an expedition to study the cave. It was one of the largest and most expensive cave explorations ever undertaken, but of course, they didn't find anything like what Juan Moritz described. Still, they did make some intriguing discoveries, such as perfectly cut passageways twisting deep into the cave, estimated to be more than 2,500 years old. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the latest mysterious archaeological discoveries. See you next time.